Thank you for joining me today. I'm really excited to talk to you about the process that led you to becoming Vanica users. So, when this entire situation with making a software change came up, what was foremost on your mind? What were your main concerns, and how did you think this was all going to go?
About 20 years ago, we had a transition to a company called GenArc, and they were at the time the best software system that was out there. There was no question. Well, they kind of lived out their useful life, and after the sale, we found out they were no longer going to be supporting their system. And as a result of that, and as a result of at some point I'm going to be exiting, I wanted to make sure that the software was in place and that everything was running smoothly before that happened. So we went on the search.
Let me sort of switch tracks here and ask Lance, A, what do you do at Creative, and how did you get involved?
I've been with Creative since 2003. I am the IT director here at Creative. I handle every bit of technology for the company. I knew that it was a very difficult transition. Every time you change softwares, it's going to be a major undertaking. And that's when I put together a small list of companies that I recommended. And then I arranged to have each company come into our office for an entire day and spend the day going through and showing what each software offered.
In what ways did the resources of the CAM Collective give you guys what you felt was a little bit of an advantage or save you some time? Like how were we able to make the process better, easier? Wherever your mind goes on this, I'd be really curious to see where it leads.
We got a variety of advice telling us, look for this, this didn't work, that did work. So there was a good bit of be prepared heads ups, which really helps. In addition, Josh, who sold his company to the collective, he had just gone through this whole process and he was available to help guide.
All right. Josh, how did you find yourself helping them with the Vanica process?
They asked me to come over as a project manager for the transition over to Vantica. I think it really allowed the creative team to take advantage of somebody who had been through the process before, someone who understood kind of the goalposts in a way that were meaningful. I could get creative to move on things by telling them, look, if you don't do this, you're going to fail. And it allowed me to take on a role of ensuring that if there was something that was frustrating that was happening, something that I had been through before or knew that was going to become a hot issue for us, that I could take on the communication role for creative so that I could be the bad guy. And creative could continue to retain the good relationship that I'm sure they continue to have with Vantica. And so we were able to move through it, I think in a great way, to be honest with you. I think that that's having somebody that is in the project management side as part of the process really does deliver benefits to the process for both sides.
Obviously, within the CAM Collective, we have members that are working with all of the major software platforms, and we remain software agnostic. But I'm always curious, with the choices that were in front of you, and many of which are really compelling, what was it about Vanica ultimately that made you feel it was the right fit?
So Vanica was one of the companies that really stood out in development. They took a strong approach, particularly when they were pitching to us and even afterwards, that they were just as focused in on keeping clients as they were as improving the software. And I think that was really the downfall of the prior system that we were on, the prior platform that we were on, is that they had just created a product. It was a good product, but they weren't doing anything to improve it, and they weren't doing anything to stay in line with technology advances that were happening in our industry. And so we were falling behind by just staying the same. And in order to meet our competitors in the same arena, we had to take a step with a property management software that was going to continue to grow with us at the pace that we wanted to grow, which was pretty rapid. We grew pretty quickly over the 10 years. And we knew that the potential for the next 5 to 10 years was also going to be high growth. And so we needed a partner that was going to be able to to get us there.
With Vanica, one of the reasons that we went to it is because it's versatility. There is a lot of opportunity to do what some people might consider customization and flexibility, and how other companies are doing it and whether it's working for them or not working for them can be of great value. So having that contact and sharing that information was of great help.
But Lance, in terms of that, did you feel that out of this process, we at least were able to save you a couple of steps?
Oh, yes. And some of the things that, like Jeff spoke about, getting to meet with some of the member companies and talk about some of the issues that they were having and being able to plan for those. For example, one of the biggest things that we heard from a lot of different companies was that distribution of communications that come in through Vantica and being able to properly organize those. And, we talked to one company that said that they've almost had to hire a person to filter that stuff. I was able to determine what was causing that. And I was able to find ways to do things instead of having one email going to Vantica that has to be distributed to multi different departments. We now have, I believe it's 12 different department emails that go into Vantica and set those up to where they go to the correct action item, which ties to the correct person. The benefit of others seeing that issue, I was able to find a way we don't experience that issue nearly as bad as most companies.
Obviously, you guys were incredibly prepared and you had a lot of resources along the way. But something I always like to ask people is how anxious were you on launch day when you went live with Vantica?
I have such confidence in Lance and in what we had done. I mean, we were watching closely. We were taking every step. The team, including Josh, we were paying very close attention to the details. We were marking the page and checking the boxes every way through it. I had all the confidence in the world that it was going to be successful. Not nervous at all.
That's pretty incredible. That's
Yep.
pretty rare too.
Yep.
So the fact that you didn't lose any clients during that process, I think is a real testament, first of all, to the great business partners that we get to work with and the developments that they've been able to make over time in ensuring that these transitions are a little less traumatic. But also, frankly, just additional resources, which I know is something that we feel really strongly about at the collective. This is what we're here to do, is make sure that you've got people behind you that aren't necessarily on your payroll when you start this process, but that we can help move things through in order for our member companies to become the best version of themselves.
Actually made me remember stuff that I had forgotten that I I didn't want to remember as part of the transition.
Well, I think we call those repressed memories.
Yeah. But it was good because I was able to say, oh, you know what? Like that was really vital to the transition. And it's something that as taking creative through that process, I was able to identify strategic points in the transition that we had to get right. Well,
Gentlemen, I really appreciate your time today. It's been great hearing about your experience. And I'm happy that everything landed well and that you found a software partner that's providing you guys what you need in order to get the most out of the work that you do at Creative. So thanks very much. And
Absolutely.
Thanks for everything.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care.
See you later.